Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Chicago is in the news again, but this time it could end up being good. Unless you live under a rock, you know Chicago has led the world, the globe, in gun control pretty much. It's a bubble, it's a nirvana where only unicorns and rainbows live and everything's a four-leaf clover because it's just awesome. There's no guns in the legal owners' hands, but all the gangbangers have them, and that's why Chicago leads the nation in violent crime. In fact, according to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who yesterday put out a press release, among other things, he says that last year more than 4,300 Chicagoans were shot and more than 700 were killed, and it was the deadliest in at least 2 decades. So we'll fast forward to what happened at the end of that speech. The Donald Trump administration promised some months ago that if Chicago couldn't get the crime under control, that he would send the feds in. And generally, I don't side with sending the feds in to do anything, but because I have a little bit of experience, I worked in one of the most violent cities in the country as a police officer, you do need to put boots on the ground. You do need people who are willing to get their hands dirty, and you cannot fear hurting people's feelings, and you can stop the crime. You can bring the city back. If you've ever been to Chicago, it's a beautiful city, a lot of traffic, but it is beautiful. It's just that the crime is holding it back. You know, it's called Chirac for a reason. As of yesterday, the Attorney General has assigned 20 ATF agents, in addition to what's already in the city, to Chicago. And those 20 ATF agents are joining the Chicago Gun Strike Force, which was created, officially announced yesterday. It's been running in some form since June 1st, but it was officially announced yesterday, June 30th. And they're going to join some other officers that are already on this task force. Now, no task force can fix everything. It takes a team, and the team has to be close. They have to be focused on what they want to do, and they got to be able to utilize the tools to get the job done. So that's why this one is looking promising. First off, these 20 ATF agents are going to join 6 intelligence research specialists, 12 task force officers from Chicago PD, 2 task force officers from the Illinois State Police, and 4 National Integrated Ballistic Information Network specialists. That's going to be key, as is this part. What makes this partnership unique is that they'll have prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Cook County State Attorney's Office working alongside the police officers and the federal agents, and that is huge. As someone who has worked on many JTFs, Joint Task Forces, I've worked with FBI, DEA, ATF, Marshal Service. I've worked with a lot of them, and the breakdown wasn't, catching people screwing up. The breakdown was the prosecution part. Because in my experience, we used the local courts in the city, and the city was already overrun. The caseload was already deep, and a lot of the cases were either pled out to lesser crimes or dismissed altogether. And a lot of bad people are put back out doing the same thing. You can't really clean up the city unless you take the bad stuff off the street. And having their own prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Cook County State Attorney's Office just assigned to this group is going to make that a whole lot easier. Now, the Ballistic Specialist is something I was never lucky enough to have assigned to any of my teams. And that is good because that is going to reduce the time of tracing ballistic evidence, guns, casings, projectiles, stippling, all kinds of stuff. Typically, it takes a couple days to get that information back, but with these ballistic experts assigned to the team, it's going to take hours to get that information back because you have somebody dedicated to it. So this is showing some promise. I mean, they're really going after the problem. This year alone, up until June 30th, yesterday, at least 1,760 people were shot in Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, is totally unacceptable. And what's been going on, not a knock to Chicago PD, I know there's a lot of politics involved, but what's been happening, the past practice, just isn't cutting it. You need to change stuff up. And to their credit, Chicago is actually doing something. To date, they've had 400 new recruits graduate the academy, and the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, who I despise, But he has pledged an additional 1,000 officers on the streets within the next 2 years. So things are looking up. If you're watching this and you're thinking about a career in law enforcement and you're willing to move to obtain your goals and get some experience, Chicago is hiring. So regardless of what you think about the politics behind it all, the current administration is actually doing something instead of just blowing hot air up our asses. They're actually making a legitimate effort, putting some money into curbing all of the gun violence going on. At least they're trying. Let's see where it goes. If you like this type of information, please hit the thumbs up for this video. Hit subscribe to this channel if you like Second Amendment news just as fast as it happens across the country, because this is where you're going to find it. Also, in the links in the description, if you want to support the channel, I am on Patreon, and I also recently opened up a shirt store where you can get some of the designs that I've released in the past. Thank you for your time. I appreciate every minute of your day you spend on my channel. And until we see each other again, this is Jared from Guns and Gadgets. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry your weapon. Take care, everybody.